Welcome to the SMBU Daily Video. China has sold off about 32% from its highs. There's news today, and there has been for the last 10 days or so, with China, their government trying to prop up the price of their equities. But nothing seems to be working. And today, there's some more news that many of their securities, about 40% of their market cap overall, have been halted, are not trading. And that's true for two simple reasons. One, many Chinese investors have generous margin rules that they can tap into, and they do so as their market is going up. When their market is coming down, they have to sell, they have to unwind their positions. And secondly, many Chinese companies use their stock as a basis for loans. And so banks hold stock, which they are thinking about getting rid of recently as the stock prices come down. So you have a lot of margin, you have a lot of leverage that individuals and companies can tap into. When things are going great, that's terrific. When things are starting to come in, there becomes this cascading effect of selling. And so as a US trader and as a US investor, this breeds lots of opportunity. One, you got to understand the structure, the market structure of what's going on there in China. You can't just sit there and say, well, China's come off 32%, I like the growth story there, and I'm going to buy. You have to understand why people are selling and get a feel for when that might stop. If you're thinking about, as a trader and as an investor, if you're thinking about expressing your idea short or long as to what is happening, well, there's three ideas that I think we really want to go over. And these are ideas that we've been playing around with on our desk. And so we'll pass them along and give you some thoughts for expressing ideas in China as investments, as in trades. So let's say you're sitting there at your trading desk and you have divined that China needs to bounce. Well, there are two very, very large ETFs that most people trade that are very liquid that you might consider starting to look at. And so, as you can see from the chart, you've got FXI, which is a large cap ETF. And as you can see from the chart right here, you've got ASHR, which is another very large ETF which you can tap into. Those track equities in China. Those will, if you think China has sold off too much and if you think it can bounce, those are terrific vehicles that you can trade here on your platforms to express your thought process. The market will go back up. So that's the first thing. Let me find some ETF, and there's a lot of other ETFs that you can look at. These are two that are very heavily traded, that are very liquid, that lots of people in the US are looking at. The second idea for expressing an opinion on China would be to look at individual names. Two names that are very popular in the US are Baidu. Baidu is like the Google of China. That's their Chinese language search engine. And that's been holding up very, very well. So if you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, I think China's overdone, you can look for technical levels, support levels to think about trading or investing off of. And then Baba. Baba has been a very interesting story and something we've watched very closely on our desk. That 7777 has been a technical level we're very interested in. It dipped below there a little bit yesterday and closed above there today. That's exactly where the fight was. That was exactly where the fight was today. That 77, 75-ish to 80-ish area was exactly where the huge, huge fight was today with sellers and buyers in our marketplace. And that's been holding up very nicely. But if you like the short idea with Baba and you say, hey, I think this thing has a chance to go back to its original IPO price of 68, you're going to need a close below that 77.77. If you like the growth story in Baba and you think, hey, I want to tap into essentially the Amazon of China, Baba is essentially the Amazon of China for lack of a better comparison. Well, that's an area where you can think about buying from. All right, you can express your long, you can express your confidence in China with a long position around there. That'd be a really interesting entry point. And then the third thing is, there are rumors that are going to come out intermittently as this story stays in the news. It happened today. Steve tweeted, as you can see here, that there was chatter that the Chinese government is going to sell $300 billion worth of US Treasuries and buy stock, buy their stock, buy Chinese stock. And the result of that was a quick pop in FXI, in ASHR, and in the Chinese names. I gave you two of them. There are a lot more, but I gave you the two best that most people trade. Well, when something like that hits, yeah, you can go and you can buy your FXI, your ASHR, you can buy your BABA, you can buy your Baidu, but you can also do something else. And this is a really interesting idea for you to think about. You can hit UVXY, you can hit VXX, you can essentially short volatility. Think about it. China is breeding lots of uncertainty in our markets that's pouring over into US markets. If you just go to any news headline like a Yahoo Finance or a Bloomberg, you'll see US stocks down because we've lost confidence in China. Panic in China causing US markets to trade lower. Well, anytime there's uncertainty in marketplace, volatility rises. When we get news that comes across that, hey, things are going to be a little bit more stable in China, there's a volatility trade. Volatility should come in, should pull back in. So China's going to be in the news for the next many months. For those of you who don't know how to express your ideas, those were 3 ideas you can start dabbling with. I'm setting stops on all this. I'm looking for, on the long side today, actually, you can see from my tweet, I started nibbling with some China ETFs. I have tight stops on this. I actually didn't see any area for me to load up on this. So I nibbled, and then I lightened up after my nibbling wasn't even working. But I'm starting positions when I start to see some support, and if it doesn't work out, I hit out of it. If I start to see it hold, and then we start to see any of these ETFs and stocks hold higher, that's when I'm going to really start to add risk. I hope that helps. Think about China. Good luck with your trading. We'll talk to you soon.